I want God will, I will choose him. But I did not fall in love like that. I grew in love with him because he was not my choice because well, I don't want to marry a pastor. So I grew in love, but I knew that he was the person. So God is interested. But first, you must not be afraid that God will not speak to you. Just know the way God speaks to you from right from every area of your life. You want to go to one direction, you know God is saying no yet. You know how God speaks to you. So you will translate that to marriage, knowing if this is the right person or not.
Okay, so I'm still with you, Dr. Lee.
Yeah.
You said you know that he is the one, right? So what are those confirmations that you know that he is the one? You know, maybe you know someone will just say, I just have that peace of mind, I just have that peace of mind. Or someone will just say, when I was swimming, I was fetching water and I saw him helping me to draw the water. Or I was carrying firewood in my dream and he's not helping me to gather firewood. So what's the confirmation that you know that he's likely the person?
Okay. My the for me personally, the first one was the peace. The peace. You know, I had that peace that he was the one. That peace that surpassed every human understanding. That peace was the major thing. And because that was the way God has been dealing with me in other areas, so I was able to relate. Because when I wanted to do something, I asked God, and I feel the peace. I know that God is speaking. So then I felt the peace. Then there were also some physical confirmation, but that was the first one. Like I that is like a mission. There was a day one of my lecturers just came to me and was asking me about. He said first, he said I look like his wife, and that just like the wife looked like, and so my house was starting like the wife, so he was talking. So he now brought up marriage. He now told me one thing there. I said, if I could remember clearly that if I know that that person is the person that if I'm sure that number one, the person is a child of God, and I know that God is saying that is the person, I should leave my other objection. And then I have some objection. He was a pastor. I don't want to marry a pastor. Because then I used to believe that pastors are not fun. So I said, I don't want to marry a pastor. Then before, to be sincere, I thought my husband was not handsome then. So I said, no. Those things were there. But that man,
You know your husband is here, bro. You don't know.
he's
But
handsome.
is
I
your
can see
husband
now.
handsome now?
I can see clearly. So when that man spoke, I knew that God was speaking to him. Then another day, I was going to Mobi from UI to see a friend. I saw someone I knew before. We didn't have that close relationship. He brought up marriage stuff too, and he said almost the same thing. So I told myself, why am I running from the obvious? So that was the confirmation I had, the peace and those confirmation. Then he was a child of God. So it was.
Wow, thank you very much. You know, I don't know the situation, even not in the world, in the church today, that we have some Christian sisters. I don't want to marry a pastor. I don't want to marry a pastor. I don't know the problem. Even when we got them our sisters, they don't know that the pastors are men, they are loving people.
They are.
They are loving people. You know, the kind of pastors friend I move with, even if you don't want to get married, you moving with them will feel jealous that I will get married. Because of the way they profess their love to their spouse and everything. So thank you, Dr. Bisi, for that wonderful answer. But okay, I should have asked you this question, but I don't want to stress you too much. So because I still have two questions for you. Let me move to Pastor Dr. Felix. So, Dr. Felix, now we are talking on does God really choose your partner for you? Now, if God really choose your partner for you, then why are there divorce? That people divorce themselves, have issue in their God choosing partner. That this is the person that God choose for me. Then why is there divorce common among them? Because if you are to look it today in our society today, most of the divorces come from the church. Most of them comes from the church. And then we begin like, what you say that it's God that choose this person for you, then why is it like us? So, Dr. Felix, can you just share more light on that? Okay, thank you. That is a very, very important question. I would say that if God gives you a car, can you have an accident with that car? If God gives you a car, can you have an accident with that car? Yes, you can have an accident with that car. How? If you overspeed. If you overspeed. If you don't maintain the car. If you allow the car to develop faults and the brake, you don't go to what is it called, mechanic to fix it. You can have brake failure. It won't be because God wants you to have an accident. It won't be because God wants you to have an accident with that car. But is car good? Yes, of course. Does God give the car? Yeah, He did. But you have a responsibility. You have a responsibility. Nothing maintains himself, including your marriage. So that God gives us, what is it called? Who to marry, to me, is foundational. It's foundational. It's like God give you a seed to plant. But if you just plant the seed and you leave the garden, what do you think happen to the seed? The seed will die. Weeds will grow everywhere. So if God gives you a seed, you need to nurture it. I tell people jokingly and I say that your marriage cannot be more of God's will than that of Adam and Eve. But it didn't work. It didn't work. It didn't work. Why? Because Adam failed in his responsibility. Eve failed in her responsibility. Even though God was involved, it didn't work. So, for marriage to work, the people involved must work. If they didn't work, even if God brought them together, it did not work. So the cause of divorce is not because God is not involved. It's because at a point, either of them became careless. Let me say that again. It wasn't because God wasn't involved. At a point, either of them became careless. If I stop caring, if I stop doing what I used to do, if I stop praying for my wife or my wife stop praying for me, if I start taking my wife for granted, and my wife start taking me for granted, even though we are pastors, there's likelihood of divorce. You've seen pastors who are divorced, right? Have you seen pastors divorce? Yes. Why? Why? So if pastor can divorce, then anybody can divorce. But divorce is not normal. It's an aberration. It's an aberration. It means that something happened over a period of time that nobody was considering, nobody was paying attention to. So divorce is a long process, it's a delayed reflection of the abnormalities in the home. I don't know if you get that. It's a delayed reflection of abnormalities that nobody was talking about, nobody was looking at. So, back to your question, that God gives you a wife or God gives you a husband does not mean that it will succeed. It means that it can succeed if both of you work to make it work. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Felix. See, value. No, like I said, that God choose for you doesn't mean that the marriage cannot fail. And then you both likely answer the questions. Now, in the process of God choosing for you, like you hear the voice, knowing fully well that this is the person. And then knowing fully well that in as much as it's God that is choosing for you, you both come from different backgrounds. So definitely there will be different understanding, different exposure, different mentality, different educational background. Maybe one ends at PSC or PhD, and then the other one is a PhD holder. But their level of exposure will be different. So what are the factors to be considered, even when you know that God is leading you to this starting person? So Dr. Felix, can you just help us with that? Is it factors to consider before you get married? Yes. Okay. Let me say why it's possible. Maybe you guys have already know that you are getting married. So what are the factors to consider when you guys are both in courtship? So
I think basically most people get married, they never they never pay attention to what they are going into. You know, you see somebody and you say you love the person, and then the next thing is that let's just get married. Because at that time, what made people to get married most time is the dopamine I talked about. The dopamine, the excitation. It's not consideration. People don't get, only few people get married on proper consideration. People get married on excitation. You meet somebody, and in these days that people flout the commandments in the Bible, you understand? Perhaps the person gets married, get pregnant within 2 months, and because the person is already pregnant, there's no time to process what you are going into. You don't get married. Are you with me? So the problem that happens in marriage did not happen in marriage. It happens before marriage. And so if you don't do proper consideration, then you are heading to disaster. Before you get married, I mentioned four intimacy that you must consider. Four intimacy or four levels of intimacy. Number one is the spiritual intimacy. Spiritual, what do I call it now? The spiritual intimacy. That means between me and this person, are we spiritually compatible? Are we spiritually? The Bible says two cannot walk together except they agree. There must be key agreements. Are you with me? See, when you come together, there might be disagreements. But before you get married, there must be a measure of agreement. At least maybe 90% or 75% of agreement. So there must be spiritual intimacy. For instance, if you believe that Jesus is Lord, the person you want to marry must believe that Jesus is Lord. If you believe that God can do miracle, the person you want to marry must believe that God can do miracle. Are you with me? If you believe in speaking in tongues, the person you marry must believe, even though she cannot speak in tongues, must believe that speaking in tongues is for me also. I can speak in tongues. Are you with me? So that level of, there will not be surprises when you get married. A lot of surprises happen because there's no, I wrote a book. The title of that book is 100 questions to ask before you get married. 100 questions to ask before you get married. Why? Because people don't ask questions. People don't. Do you know that you need to ask, do you smoke? Do you smoke? Because some people smoke and you don't smoke. Do you drink? What kind of drink? Do you drink? Do you take beer or alcohol? You don't want to get married and then the person said, bring that alcohol. I said, you take alcohol, I don't know, but you don't ask. Are you with me? Do you watch pornography? You ask. Because you don't want to have surprises. So a lot of time, the problem is that we don't ask questions. So there must be spiritual intimacy. That's number one. Number two, there must be intellectual intimacy. Intellectual, what do I call it? Intellectual intimacy. You cannot be thinking globally. And the person you are thinking you want to marry to is thinking locally. There's going to be conflict of intellectual turquoism. Are you with me? Two of you are going to have intellectual disequilibrium. You can't communicate when there's too much intellectual gap. So does that mean that the person you want to marry must be up there intellectual? No, at least he must have a tendency to learn, tendency to grow, tendency to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So you are looking for tendency, not capability. Are you with me? Does this person have the tendency to live where he is now? It doesn't matter. Somebody can start life with diploma, and in the next 10 years, he's a PhD holder. Do you understand? Because there's curiosity, there's tendency. This person want to learn, this person want to grow. Then another one is physical intimacy. This is most time we neglect this aspect. Are we physically compatible? That is not to say let's test ourselves before we get married. I'm not talking about testing, but there must be chemistry. There must be chemistry because when you get married, there's something called sex, and you don't do sex. You don't have sex without chemistry. There must be chemistry. There must be connection. Because if I get married to somebody I'm not connected to, even though we are spiritually compatible, even though we are intellectually compatible, I will be lost in after another lady. I don't know if you get it. Because that connection is not there. So there must be a level of physical connection. And the last one, there must be freedom intimacy. Freedom intimacy means, what do I call it now? Freedom intimacy. That means that even though we are married, you are not my slave. You have seen the intimacy to be alone, and you are not alone. That means that you are not policing the person. The person is not policing you. There's freedom to still be who I am. There's still freedom to be who you are. So I'm not trying to change you, right? You are not trying to change me. We are trying to grow together. So I mentioned spiritual intimacy, I mentioned intellectual intimacy, I mentioned physical intimacy, and I mentioned freedom intimacy. See, when you find these four in any hole, that hole is bound to succeed.
Okay, I'm still with you. Thanks very much, Doctor. I'm still with you from. Okay, let me ask on that ritual intimacy, right? Now, before I really ask the question, even though we are Christians, there was a time back then, I won't mention it, there was a time back then that if you marry from another denomination in Christendom, there's a problem. There's a problem that they be expect you to marry from that same denomination. Now, if maybe I'm Pentecostal now, and I went ahead to get married, maybe in Orthodox church. Our belief system are different. Pentecostal believe in speaking in tongues, they believe in going to mountain to pray, they believe in shouting while praying. While Orthodox believe in stolen free life, but we believe in false life. Hallelujah.
No, we not force life, we don't believe in false life. Okay.
You must be forceful, everything, aggressive in prayer, aggressive right teaching, everything. But Orthodox believe in stolen prayer, even free will. Even though we have free will in Pentecostal, you should understand what I mean. Now, coming to that, we are from different ritual background. So how can we balance that?
Do you want my wife?
Yes, okay, let me just ask mommy on that. How can we balance that?
Okay. I think your question is very important. It it was a problem then. I don't For now I think things are changing because now the Orthodox and the Pentecostal they are now kind of there's now some link they are now kind of linking together gradually. But then the gap was wide that if you were there I would say don't marry, don't, because the gap was so wide, their belief system was so different. I've seen cases like that. If you were there I would say no. But now things are changing. Because now you see that some of these Orthodox now, some of them are now speaking in tongues. You see some gradual merging of
New
the two now.
generation.
Yes, they are now merging together and there's improvement. Because the spiritual compatibility is very, very important. If you marry someone who don't believe in like speaking in tongues and you speak in tongues and you are told you are speaking in tongues and the person is feeling that you are doing nonsense, you know, the atmosphere of the home is not is getting somehow. Or when the children are coming and the children is aiming as in longing together to be filled with the Holy Spirit to speak in tongues. Or maybe the mother does not believe it and mother is saying that no, no, leave my children out of it. That is not. But now I think the things and we are getting gradually. So I believe that the major difference, if the person believes Jesus is Lord, the person believes in the major thing and the person is as a teachable spirit and ready to learn. Even though maybe it comes from a background where some things are not maybe the quiet background and you come from like the particular where we shout, you like to dance, you like to shout. Gradually those differences can still be, there are little differences. You shout here, they don't shout here. The person can gradually begin to take the shouting small small. Maybe in church you begin to dance small small, later on move. But when it comes to the real ones, the big ones, I would believe that let us kind of come to an agreement and then settle it. Go two of you go for counseling together and settle that case. If it is serious case, like speaking in tongues is serious. Let's settle it. Let's look for a mentor. Let us know that will advise us and let the other person know the importance. But if it is all these little ones, with time they will come to agreement.
Wow. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Mrs. Now, what is Dr. Felix? The part of state faith now. Now, going to religion aspect, we have three sets of religion in Nigeria. We have the Christian, Muslim, and the traditional. Now, assuming okay, let me say I'm a Christian now, and then I'm in love with another religion. So, what can you say about that? We are from different belief systems entirely now. So, what can you say about that? Because it's now common in our society. I have two of my friends back in secondary school that are married to another religion. So, what can you say about that aspect?
One, the first thing is that me, I don't like religion, no? So I don't like talking about religion. I love talking about life. And life is not a container that everything must be fit into a particular box. God works in diverse ways. God works in diverse ways. In fact, you can be a Christian and God is leading you to marry a son of an herbalist. I was not born a Christian, but my father was a reputable herbalist, all right? And so nobody could have seen my future then that I will be a pastor now, right? So there are some people today you think they are Muslims, you think they are even herbalists, but their future is that they will proclaim the gospel all over the world. So this is where hearing God is so important. You don't do it because I just feel you are my wife. But if there's something within you that you cannot even explain it, that is leading you to a particular person that is outside your faith, but you don't take that step, carelessly. It's a step you take with a deep sense of responsibility because uh, the what is it called? The conflict around belief system. Belief system is one of the strongest stronghold in the world. It's better for somebody not to have a belief than to have a certain belief. It's very hard to check a particular belief system. So if you are going into that, you must be clear that this is what you are likely going to face, right? But if God is leading you into it, I'm telling you, God will have solved the problem even before you get there, right? But it's not general. It's not the norm. The norm is that don't be unequally yoked with unbelievers. The unbeliever is the person who does not believe that Jesus Christ came to this world to die for his sins. That is the Bible definition of unbeliever. So the Bible clearly states that don't be equally yoked with unbelievers. That means that don't enter into marriage relationship, right? However, you know that that same place says that even the faith of the husband or the faith of the wife can save either of the partner, right? So it means that there are certain space where you as a Christian can marry a Muslim, right? Based on the leading of God, based on the leading of God, and knowing fully well that that step you are taking is for good purpose. To me, most times it's evangelistic. It might be through you that you get married to that guy who is not even in your faith. The person embrace the faith, and then becomes an instrument of transformation. So those are some of the things, but it cannot be based on a fleeting reasons. But if it's based on fleeting reasons, oh, I love her, I like her, and all of that, it must be something deeper than that.
Wow. Okay, thank you so much. We are still on relationship before I go fully into marriage. Now, still on that spiritual compatibility, because we need to iron this out very well for our guests at home and everyone hearing us. Now, assuming I'm a Muslim right now, and then I love a Christian lady. Now, is it okay for me, let me just put it like that, for me to say I want to convert her to my own religion? Because let me use an example, set an example. That my friend is an usher in the church, let is a lady, and then marry a Muslim guy, and then she successfully transformed into that faith. Okay, into that faith that everything is going well. Okay, in the relationship, even though they are married now, everything is going well. But is it a must I convert my partner to my own religion?
Well, converting is not the right term to use for me. Um, like I've said, that two cannot work together except they agree, right? You don't become a Christian because you are married to a Christian, right? In fact, you don't become a Christian because you are born in a Christian home. It's not Christianity is not something you join. You must be born again. That's what Jesus said. You must be born again. It's not oh yeah, join us. No. It's far beyond that. It's far beyond that. So, but some people intentionally because of religion. Religion is I convert her. I convert. No. You give somebody reasons to believe. If somebody is joining, is giving his life to Jesus Christ, he has sufficient reasons to believe that Jesus Christ is Lord. He came to the world to die for us. And then if somebody is joining from Christianity to Islam, there must be sufficient reason. There must be premise. What is the premise that is making you to leave Jesus to embrace Islam? What is the premise? What is the premise that is making you to leave Islam to embrace Christ? I don't want to say Christianity because Christianity can be a religion. So joining a religion is a different thing. Salvation is a different thing. Are you with me? So there are some people who don't understand this. And so if you don't understand it, it's easy for you to just join anything. But even if you are joining and you are giving your life to Christ based on relationship and marriage, you must have understanding. Because if you don't have understanding, you can become a Christian today, and tomorrow you become a Christian, right? And you can become a Muslim today because of what is it called? Supposed law, and tomorrow you become a Muslim because you don't even understand what you are doing. And so it's important for people to understand what they are doing. Here at Christ Classic, I love to explain why people should understand. If you are giving offering, you must understand why you are giving offering. If you are paying your tithe, you must understand why you pay tithe. If you are coming to church on Sunday, you must understand. This is why some people say, I don't come to church, Pastor, I'm sorry. As if As if because they don't understand the reason why they need to come to church. So if they don't come to church, they feel that they've offended pastor. You get it because they don't understand what they are doing. So it's important to understand what you are doing so that you know what you are doing, right? And if anything happens, you can defend what you are doing. Nobody can easily convince you out of what you understand. But if you don't understand it, any other thing can easily sweep the people.
Wow. Okay. Let me tell you that way. Thank you very much for the credit. Now, Dr. Mrs. Atolani, over to you. You are still on the what? Relationship aspect before going into marriage. Now, in this relationship, while we are courting, there are some red flags that most of these youths overlook. That no, I love him, I love her, we will change. As if you are the one that will change him or her, we will change her. So now, what are the red flags that are very common that we should not overlook? Not overlook why in relationship with the other partner. So,
Red flags. That's true. There are always a lot of things that happens in marriage. You've seen the preamble already during the relationship period. Just that most of the time we overlook it. They say love is blind. They blind their eyes. When they're not married, their eyes is open. When the eyes is now open, nothing else to do. So those things, those red flags are there. And when you see red for signs, it's danger. It's not yellow. If it is yellow, it's something you can,
easily correct.
yes, you can correct.
Caution.
But yes, when it's red, it means stop. Just leave it. And there are a lot of red flags that people overlook in relationship. Okay, let's mention one. A relationship is not marriage. There's abuse already there. I'm telling you, there's no reason going into marriage. Somebody you're not married to is already slapping you. It's not just the man, no. There are some ladies slapping the man they are not married to yet. I'm telling you, when you get married, will not just slap you, will slam you, or she will slam you. And I heard Reverend Samadeyemi said something that one his friend then wanted to get married, that the lady was beating the man. During courtship, the lady was beating the man. That he got to a point that he told the man, said, leave this relationship. He has to advise me. So abuse, I'm telling you, abuse, don't tolerate abuse. Because when you now get married, you now be saying that ọmọ mò ń wò, kìíní kan mò ń wò, is the community I'm looking at.
What people will say.
Yes, what people will say. Now just stop when you say abuse. And there are some other red flags, maybe some dangerous activities. If the person is humanizing, just leave it. God is not there, just leave it. Just back out. Because during courtship, the person is humanizing. When you are married, you will not just humanize, oh, you will bring the woman to the house. Or if it is the lady too. Somebody humanizing. Just leave.
Or manizing.
Or hey, let me manage. Just leave the, don't say, some people say if I leave the person, there's nobody outside there. Or all men are the same. Or it will change. Just leave, humanize, leave it. There are some other dangerous behavior to maybe, to me, when you see somebody smoking, now they say this one is personal. You know that smoking is dangerous. You talk to the person and the person is not changing. The person will not change when you get married. What you can't change now, the person will not change. And I've seen some people who left some relationship because of some awkward thing. It's a deep sense of distrust or unbelief in your partner. I've seen someone, I don't want to be mentioning the situation now. There is this, is always questioning the spouse, the yeah, the person that maybe the person is cheating. The person is not cheating. And you yourself know that, but the person is, I think is his upbringing. He came from a family that there's no that trust within them. There is this form of incense among their family. So he thought the spouse too, maybe the person is having like incense, knowing incense now. So when you see something like that, so strong unbelief and distrust, why you are not married, I'm telling you, leave the relationship. There are also others too. As they come up, it's better you just stop it because the person will not stop when you are married. It's just the beginning. Let me stop there.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Atolani. Now, let me just add this. Also, you talked about abuse. You know, we also have mental abuse apart from physical abuse. So, what are the mental abuse that we have? Mental abuse in relationship. You know, you can be beating someone, maybe you still have to take care of the person later. But those mental abuse are very, very powerful that it takes time to get it. So what are those mental abuse that we have?
I, to me personally, I believe even mental abuse is more stronger than the physical abuse. Because when you have physical abuse, you get help on time. Because when you keep beating somebody, either either the guy or the lady, people will see you, they will see the mark, and they will tell you leave this relationship. They will advise you. Even it will come to a time yourself when you see that you're almost dying physically. You maybe you broke your back yesterday, you broke this one tomorrow, and you will think. But when it comes to mental abuse, because it's so subtle, even the person will get used to it and think he deserve it. You see, and other people will not know. So the person will not get help on time until the person dies because the person will keep dying gradually. So mental abuse is very, very serious. If you're in a mental abuse relationship, you get out. And this comes like when your spouse, either the guy or the lady, when they begin to attack your personality, begin to tell you you are not good, telling you, showing you your self-worth that you are worthless. I'm just nobody will marry you outside. I'm the only one that can marry you and just managing you. If you live here, nobody, the person begin to feel worthless. And it's just the beginning in relationship. When you get to marriage, it will be worse. When the person begin to look or even body shaming you, I'm telling you, some people they are going out with somebody and you're not comfortable with the person, you say, and the person begin to tell you you are too big, you are fat, you are overweight, you are obese, you are like my mother. No, you are like my grandmother. You begin to tell, and you see that the thing is already affecting you. Leave because the person cannot cope with you. When you get married as a lady, if it's a lady and you begin to give birth and still going to get a little big, or unless you manage it with exercise and the rest. So this man is going to body shame you more than that and begin to affect you mentally. Also, anything you begin to see that mentally you are not alert again, anything because we are all mentally different. We are our mental our capacity is different. But when you begin to see that the thing begin to affect your mental, you are not alert again, begin to steal your joy, you are not yourself again, your self-worth is being eroded, get out of that relationship because when you get to marriage, it's going to get worse. Don't get out of it. Because people will not see it on time to advise you until anything happens.
Okay. Wow, thank you very much, Doctor. And then I also think that what leads to depression.
Yes.
That's always impression, and then before you know it, you just said that the person talking to you or the person takes sniper because he or she can't endure that mental abuse anymore.
First can even kill the partner.
When you work,
Yes.
yeah. So thank you very much, Dr. Mrs. But now over to you, Dr. Felix. Now, in relationship these days among the youth and the get to marry couples, we have so many things going on among them, like cohabiting. Cohabiting. So maybe due to economy situation, okay, my house rent is 450, yours is 350. Okay, let us like it together. 450 plus 350, that's how much? 800. Okay, if you can be living together 2450 every year, I think that will be good. So what can you say about cohabiting in relationship? Let's now proceed into this thing relationship now. Oh well,
The Bible says that if the foundation is destroyed, right, what can the righteous do? Most times, the problem in marriage has its foundation in what we've been discussing now. Cohabiting for whatever reason is not the ideal, it's not normal, it's not prosper, it's not proper for children of God to be involved in cohabiting before marriage. A lot of things. One, you cannot cohabit without exposing yourself to unnecessary temptations, right? We know that the Bible says that if you are having sex and you are not married, you are committing sin. It is called fornication of form, right? So if you are cohabiting, definitely when you are engaged to somebody, you want to get married to that person, your sexual feeling for that person is always very high. And it's normal, right? However, you are putting system in place not to allow that expression before marriage. Now, when you now cohabit, you expose yourself to that temptation that you cannot what is it called? You cannot handle, and that's number one. Number two is that the Bible says that marriage is holy and honorable. Honorable. So when you start cohabiting before marriage, you are removing honor from marriage. The honor of marriage is that you take the person you want to marry to your father or your mother, and then you register in a competent court of law, right? You do proper, whether proper traditional wedding now or proper church wedding or court wedding. You are recognized as husband and wife, not as boyfriend and girlfriend. That is what brings honor to marriage. So by cohabiting, you are removing the hormone that should naturally come with marriage. So I think, and then the economic reason. So instead of combining the money together, then the best thing is that there is no point where you cannot get married. So instead of combining the 450, let's do the little we can do. Let's get married. That is being responsible, and from there we can start building up our life, right? So if you feel that you are mature enough to cohabit together, then you should be mature enough to get married.
Okay, thank you very much. So my people here and audience at home, I believe we are hearing it, particularly to the youth. You know, it's common among the married youth these days. Even on campus, we have this very much on campus that I can practically tell 2 to 3 people that I know in my department and also my faculty that they cohabit. And now today they are married different people. The marriage did not work. Let me say not married now. The boyfriend girlfriend relationship, the cohabiting did not work. They are let me just use this term. They have just see themselves finish, see finish and enter. So they are not okay for me because I've seen everything. Now the other guy is married to another lady now. the other lady is still single.
Wow.
Yes, in fact, and so many stuff like that. So these things are very destructive in relationship because even when you get married, there won't be any good testimony. You know, we have something testimony night from where I come from before you get married. That is, there won't be any need for testimony night. What's the testimony you want to give when you have already seen everything? So there's no testimony anymore. So now, my next question is coming down to marriage now. We talked on relationship before you get married, the danger and everything. Now, coming to marriage, you said some of it while we are asking the marriage question. Now, in marriage, you know, there are some things that your partner will not do while you are in courtship. That's where pretense comes in. I want to ask you the other time. That's where pretense comes in. Now that you are married, and then those things that you are not seeing while you are in courtship or relationship, and then you are now seeing them when you now get married. Like someone now that does not smoke or does not drink while you are courting. And so all of a sudden on wedding night, they just brought out 2 pack of cannabis and then 1 pack of vodka, 1 bottle of vodka. You are now surprised that how come you are married, you can't do anything. There's little or nothing you can do. So how can you handle that situation? So okay, let me ask Dr. Atolani first, then Dr. Felix will add to it. So how can you handle such situation? Those things that you are not seeing in your partner before you get married, and all of a sudden you are seeing them when you get married. So how can you handle that situation as a married couple and as a believer?
As a believer. The unexpected surprises.
Yes.
And those, they are just, I don't know how to put them because you after marriage, you just maybe person just come up with cigarettes and you say, you smoke, and once in a while, and you are surprised. You drink, when I'm happy. Those, and you are surprised, and just come up. Just to some extent, you see, even some people have children outside marriage, and later they say, this is my daughter, will be living
From
with
the
us.
village.
And and you are surprised where all these surprises, these ones, they are big ones. So they are big. And we have some small, small surprises, they are small. Those ones, they are
Surprise
manageable.
is surprise.
Yes, like let's say that you get married and you just see maybe little, maybe some character, maybe the person sleep too much, or the person, no, those ones are still little, little ones. But all these big, big ones, now you are married, he's a smoker, he's, or even he's a womanizer, or he has a child outside, or he's even an abuser, and during the courtship,
Or
you will,
is a kidnapper.
ha,
And you don't know.
and you did not know. But there's one thing I will not but say that these surprises, if you were a little or more careful while in courtship, it will not really come totally as a surprise. It will not come totally because a smoker or a drinker or somebody like that, no matter how long he has kept those things, you will, maybe a time you will just smell some foul odor from his mouth and you just neglect it and say no. Maybe you pass by somebody smoking. Or you see the person talk about, you see maybe you pass or you are among people who drink. You see the person pass some pleasant comment about people drinking. You just overlook it. If we, those things are not fully surprising because it's because at times we try to block it out. We
Because
try
of love.
to, yeah, so we try to just, but when this thing has now come and you are married, I believe the way out, first, you have to pray. Because you can't tell the person stop smoking, stop, the person will not answer you. Even if he's now addicted and he's just lying, you can't You can't stop, you can't change anybody. That is one thing. That when we are married, I will change the person will be nicer, the person will be carer, or when I give birth because of my children, you cannot change anybody. You can, there are some things my husband want to change me all this while. He has not changed it. He can't change it. I grew and I changed on my own because the changes came from within me. That was how those changes now begin to manifest. I said, wow. We see that, wow, it's good to be patient too because he cannot force change on me. I can't force change on him. It's not possible. The person will begin to change gradually from inside. But to force change is a lie. So you cannot just stop the person from drinking or smoking. You have to now pray. If you have counselor for the person to meet, the person needs counselor. If you have somebody who the person can listen to, begin to try to move the person closer to the person. Because when you are married, you are not married. You now have to live with it. You have to cope with it. You have to now depend on God to change those things. But if there are those little changes, like you just want the person to be more maybe conscious, to be more ahead, those ones are easy to change and to live with. But with those big ones, you have to leave it to God. You have to pray and you have to be patient with the person because if you begin to nag the person, you are just starting. This one you are in it and you just need God.
Okay, Dr. Felix, thank you very much. Can you help us to ask? Wow. My wife has said a lot that I was just listening to her. That is why it's good to marry to intelligent woman, or so that you too can learn from her. So I was learning as she was saying those things. Most time people pretend, and it is worse when you are married to a pretender because you will be finding surprises, surprises, surprises. After 1 year, one surprise. After 2 years, the second surprise. Do you know that some people, even in their 20 years of marriage, they are still finding surprises? So, endless surprise. There's this Mosaic film where the guy, even the name is bearing, is fake. Where he says he's working is fake. The person that said he gave birth to him is fake. So when you marry somebody that does not just practice fake, than himself is fake, it's a lot of work. So look at the case in the Bible. Jesus Christ saw the fig tree. He was expecting that would be fruit on the tree. But when he got there, Jesus was disappointed. I think most times when we get married, there is a lot of also disappointment. That I expect that this is how this woman will be, or this is how this man will be. And then now I'm married, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed. So there are two levels of that disappointment. One is unrealistic expectation. When you have unrealistic expectation of the other person, you expect that this person will give you to be 100% this, 100% this, 100% that, and you find out that nobody is 100% perfect. That is normal surprise because you are expecting that perhaps now you are married to a pastor and you think the pastor will be praying all through the night, and the pastor sleeps all through the night. Then you'll be surprised. I thought the pastor now will be praying all through the night, but it's not praying through the night. Or you expect that your wife will cook extraordinary food, and you have to cook with excess. Are we still together there? You expect that your wife food will be 100% perfect, but you find out that it's over-salted most of the time. That one, there are surprises that can be managed. If there is love, we can help ourselves. But there are surprises that are abnormal surprises. That you find out that the person has a child somewhere.
How do you explain that? Or the person is deceived you just to get married. Do you understand? So there are people who hide something from their man or from their woman, not because they are pretender or they are deceiver, but because they love the person so much and they don't want to lose the person. And they don't have capacity for, perhaps they are not well matured. They hide that thing, and you can look through them and find out that this person is not a liar. Perhaps it's because he does not want to lose me, or he doesn't want to lose her, lose him. That's why they hide that thing. And so with counseling, it's going to be still be painful, but with counseling, with understanding, that can be managed. But when you are married to a liar, they see as a liar by nature, it's a lot of problem. And my wife suggested that you have to pray. I said you have to pray. Oh. You will pray. And you have to pray. The funny part is that you don't know when your prayer will be answered. Maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years, maybe 20 years, right? So you have to endure. That is the part. You have to endure. And the last other one is that you have to, if none of this work, you must plan separation. This is what brought divorce. The divorce we are saying the other time, there are some things that you cannot stay with. You know, the Bible says God hates divorce. It does not mean that God does not approve divorce. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
It doesn't mean that God does not approve it. It only means that God hates it. If I say I hate Gary, it does not mean that I cannot take Gary. If there is no any other option for me, I will take Gary, even though I hate it. So divorce is not normal. Divorce is not good. But when there are issues around that home that will cause you eternal pain, eternal regret, then divorce is advisable. Are you with me? Divorce is advisable because the person you marry determines how long you live. The person you marry determines whether you live long or you die early. So you cannot marry to somebody who will kill you before your time. So these are some of the things that we need to look at holistically. And this is why we mentioned that before you get married, if you are not get married and you are listening to us, you are watching this, do proper checkup. Do all the things you need to do before you get married. Now, if you are not got married and you are in a deep problem, you need counseling, and the person you are married to must be willing. It takes two to make anything work. He must be willing to make it work. If he does not want to make it work, or she does not want to make it work, then you must have a discussion. Do you want us to divorce? Are you with me? So with that, there's proper understanding of these things. And if there are still other surprises, you need to call the person. Apart from this one that I know, is there any other surprise or surprises? Please tell me now. Because I don't want us to be 5 years, 10 years, then I get to do. So I think with that level of communication, we can even handle big surprises, right? So that will be communication.
Wow. Thank you very much, Dr. Felix. Even when the Pharisees came to Jesus and asked, is divorce at what expense can we approve divorce? Jesus told them that even in the beginning it was not so. That is, it's due to the fact that people are now misbehaving because that's not the plan of God for marriage, that the divorce, but due to the things that are happening now, and then Jesus leads them out for them. Now coming to the area of separation and divorce, I want to ask a question concerning that before God, since you have already answered it. Now, okay, let me ask this question from the morning to Dr. Atolani. Now, man, still in the issue of that surprise. Now, this surprise now starts coming, coming, coming often and often. And then you went for counseling. Let me use some certain things now. Your pastor has advised that keep praying, you will change. Keep praying, you will change. If the person did not change the first 5 years, 10 years, can you advise that person to separate first or go for divorce? Is this separation first or they should just go into divorce finally? So that's my question.
Okay. Like like my husband said that if the surprises is no is the huge one that that is dangerous. There are some surprises. That there are even some surprises that in the first place have annoyed the marriage in the first place. That the marriage is not even legal again. Because you some people have gotten married under false pretense that under the law that marriage is not legal. If you just take the case to court, in the first place they will tell you are not even married and the marriage will be torn to pieces, it's gone. So there are some surprises that when you take it legally, the court will just separate you that you are not even married at the first place because everything is wrong. Even the person's name is not the name. The father, everything is different and no. So that marriage is not even married in the first place. So there are some surprises that they are big and they are disastrous. And the person is not changing and is affecting the individual mental health. It's affecting almost everything. It's affecting the home, it's affecting the children, it's affecting everything. And the man is not changing. A year, 2 years, 3 years. When you see that is a very serious one, I will advise like now that we know that there is first there is separation before divorce. This one is just like okay, give this person gap. Maybe if we
Change.
think, if we have a better thought, if we think about it, if we know, if we realize my gap, the difference, and we will come back. I think every stage should go through that one first because people can when that you always say that the other house is better
Okay.
at times you say until you realize when you now get to the other person's house why now. So maybe with the gap, the man might say, wow, so I'm losing a lot if I let this woman go or if I let this man go. So not that the other place is better. I'm not seeing that my own house is even good. So I will always advise that people should not go for even divorce first at any point in time. Go for separation. See if the person will have a change of mind. If the person will have time to think or time to even pray or work on his or her weaknesses. Then if that is not working, the separation is not working. So the best is to just go for the last option. That's why even when they go to court, they will not just divorce them. You see them, they will tell them they should go, they will give them time to go and so that maybe they will come together. And you see that most of the time, some couple will come back to the court with the same clothes. And the judge that forget it, we have won. You even see them, you will call some of them and say, they are not equal, they are in the same party together. You know that case is closed.
Okay.
So that separation is always advisable for at all times before going for the major one because anything can still happen.
Okay. Thank you very much for Atolani. Okay, do we still have any question from our audience before we proceed?
All right. So my own question.
Can you please pass the mic to Atolani?
All right. So my own question is matchmaking in church a right thing? That's number one. And then number two is what happens when a fake pastor unites a man and a woman?
And then three, what is the proper marital scheme? And then four,
What is
Proper
the
marriage.
proper marital scheme. And then is courtship a must before marriage?
Okay. Sorry, your first question.
Okay. So the first question is matchmaking in the church a right thing?
And the second question, I want to ask what
What happens when a big pastor unites a man and a woman?
okay. Mommy, the answer the first one is matchmaking proper in the church. But before Daddy answer the second question, Dr. Felix, before a fake pastor can matchmake, then one of the couple must be fake. That's one of the couple because it can either be the wife because you can only get